Hope you're all enjoying the start of the week here as we are enjoying this lovely Monday morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. But here we go. We're jumping into game number 1 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Cloud9. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing himself, currently teamless, deserving to be on a team though. It is SHIN. Let's go. That Open Cup is stacked. It's always stacked, pup. It's always stacked. But true. That's what I love about ESL Open Cup Asia, is that there's no nonsense, right? It's like ESL Open Cup Asia is very lean. Like, it doesn't have as many signups as Americas or Europe. That is true. But like, for some context here, round 1 of ESL Open Cup Asia was, for example, GuMiho versus DRG, right? Like, round 1 was maybe a better example, Bunny versus Hero. That was round 1. Bunny versus Hero is round 1 of a tournament. Like, that's crazy. Nightmare versus Solar. That was round 1 as well. Creator versus Classic. Like, you have players like Oliveira, Classic, Bunny, and Nightmare all being knocked out. It's like in the early rounds. I mean, that's a tournament. That's crazy. That's wild. I have a lot of love for EU and Americas, but in EU and Americas, you have a lot more amateur players sign up. There's pros and cons to that, right? On the one hand, it's really cool to see the community come together and want to be a part of these events because it's at a better time slot for them and a better time zone. It is a shame that we don't get many like Diamond or Masters players or Platinum players sign up for ESL Asia. Like, ESL Asia is like very serious and it's just like the best of the best. Americas and Europe, you get a lot more like, you know, players from around the world just taking part just to have fun, just to get involved, and just to enjoy StarCraft instead. It feels like ESL Asia is a little bit more serious, and EU and Americas, you know, we can get some plat on plat action in the first couple of rounds, which is not a bad thing. Just a very different vibe is maybe the better way of putting it. Very different vibes, especially in the earlier rounds. As we are settling into game number 1. Once again, GuMiho going for a 2-axe Reaper. I say once again because earlier today we were casting GuMiho versus DRG, and every game in that series, GuMiho did commit to 2-axe Reaper. Reapers, they get into the mineral line, into the natural base. One drone goes down. We get a drone, we get a couple of lings. And the goal here is to contain SHIN. SHIN is denied his 3rd base, as we have invested into a 4th Reaper. And SHIN is stuck on 2 bases. Can he get another drone? He wants one. Zones away that queen. Behind this, it's going to be a 3rd CC before factory. So a very economic follow-up here by GuMiho, rushing into that 3rd base. Can he get a queen? No shot. He barely will not. Queen almost goes down. Ling speed has kicked in. And SHIN, he will collapse on these Reapers. He tries to at least. There we go. He gets 1. He gets 2. Gets 2 of those Reapers, and can he get a 3rd? It looks like he barely can get a 3rd Reaper, and he will barely get the last Reaper as well. Phew. Very nice control there from SHIN, as he was doing a lot of stutter stepping with those lings. Did clean up the Reapers, and is now moving out. Now moves out, does check the wall. I believe SHIN, did he see the add-on stop? He didn't. He did not see the add-on stop, but he saw the researching tech lab, so he knows it's going to be bio. Getting into Hellion production thereafter. GuMiho is 3rd base, already in orbital, soon to be landed on location. As GuMiho is settling into his 3cc 211. Meanwhile, SHIN is recovering. Remember, SHIN, he lost 2 drones. His 3rd base is heavily delayed here from our Zerg player. And SHIN has to play catch-up, essentially. Is stuck playing catch-up. Suckling catch up. As GuMiho isn't going to be overly aggressive either. Again, because of the faster third base, which is now being landed, by the way, he's going into double E base. Double engineering base with double upgrades, getting into the rest of his production, going for add-on swaps. The game is going to be calming down. But we have a bit of a lull period here after the early game aggression. Oh, and Shin is going for a Bailey Nest first. Okay, checking his vision here.
Time to raise your APM.
Okay, he's a diva enjoyer. Okay, god damn it. Is a bit of a diva enjoyer. But yeah, he's going for a safe follow-up. So Bailey Nest first means you're safe against Hellbat pushes. If GuMiho was going for a dedicated Hellbat push as a follow-up, and if he didn't go for the third base, then Shin would be safe. But because GuMiho is being greedy, then Shin is being safe, and not for much reason, as he doesn't quite have to make use, or isn't going to be making use of that Bailey Nest. Bailings are on the way. I'm curious here if Shin is misreading this, because that's a lot of Bailings. It's a lot of Bailings being morphed in. GuMiho is pushing towards that base, so he's pushing towards the fourth, and he should be able to force a cancel. Yeah, will force a cancel. Base is going to be going down and does threaten the army, but these queens should be enough to defend. Bailings, I mean, we have a very secure defense here from Shin, as he has a massive Bailey army behind this, going into delayed upgrades for Shin. We have +1 carapace on the way, second Evo chamber on the way as well. And GuMiho is in a very nice position, as he has the better economy. Ling goes down. Reinforcements on the way. We do have Stim, but we're waiting a little bit longer here to really kick into our upgrades. But GuMiho, he may just push here and now that he has his Metamax. Just hunting down Overlords. Just hunting down those Overlords at the same time. Shin getting ready for a run by. Lings are amassing outside the third base. And we are going in. GuMiho does have some army back at home, but not much. And workers are going to be going down. Yeah, big run by. 1 SCV falls. Can we get more? Yeah, we collapse on the Marines. Shinny sees an opportunity. He goes for it. Gets 3 SCVs in total. Behind this, a Doom drop into the main base. A bold move here by GuMiho. That's why he had nothing at home to defend. And will it pay off? As he does get into the main. Tank does siege, takes down the gas guys. Are going for the tank. Oh, Hydrogen is very exposed. Tank is going to be going down. The Bailings, they come in. They try to. And we will save that Hydrogen. God knows, a risky move here by GuMiho wasn't really worth it in the end. He got a gas geyser, that's it. Bailings, they come in. 9 SCVs go down. Good damage here by Shin. Again, he is bouncing back. He now has a worker lead, despite having a rough start. He's still in this. Oh no! Oh, I spoke too soon. That was a kill, not a cancel on the hatchery. Oh, that is 300 minerals down the drain. Shin still trying to recover. he's on the way, though. He's on the way. We're getting there. We are getting there. GuMiho is going to be pushing right through the center. Ooh. As Bailings are going to be connecting. Even off of creep. Oh my god. GuMiho getting caught a little bit off guard. Will lose his tanks. Still has a decent bio army as a follow-up. Well, those are some pretty decent Bailing connections. Again, 37 Marines going down. A good engage by Shin. We do have reinforcements rocking up. GuMiho pressing his advantage here, trying to break his opponent. Tanks are sieging. Shin going for a massive counterattack, catching reinforcements. Yeah, Marines are going to be going down. Ling's trying to knock down that front door as well. They go into the middle line. The Queens are holding back at home. Plenty of Bailings as well. 18 SCVs go down, an insane amount of economic damage. And we can collapse on these Marines. We don't. As Shin bleeds out some of those Lings. Racing back home. Now he can focus on his defense. So far, SHIN not taking any major damage. Does lose a queen. Does end up losing a queen. GuMiho moving out with his second army. Reinforcing, and yeah, SHIN is going to give up on this base. Doesn't like what he sees. Hatchery is going to go down, but SHIN, he does have another base that he can main out over to. As Lings, they catch more Marines. Not the best trade. Lings are cleaned up. Lings are cleaned up, and GuMiho, he kills the hatchery, does back off. And with that kill, GuMiho, he's in a decent position army-wise. He's all in. GuMiho is all in at this point. He's down to 42 workers. He lost all of his SCVs earlier. He has not replaced them. He has no economy. He has no bank. It's all or nothing for GuMiho. SHIN just has to survive. Easier said than done. As GuMiho has a massive bio army. Look at so many Marines. Look at all those Marines. 93. Just a massive army. Behind this, yeah, he was 8-raxing. SHIN, we just have to survive. Decent connections with some of those banelings where we're pushing off of creep, and there are just far too many Marines left over. GuMiho stimming on forward, diving on the army. Without banelings, how do we survive? How do we defend? How can we? As GuMiho is making 14 Marines at a time. Oh, SV's main nutting over towards the third. Banelings once again trying to connect. Ooh, they don't make it. The Banelings, they do not connect here with the Marines. We stim on forward. We go toe-to-toe with the Hydras. More Banelings on the way. Hydra's going down. One Baneling barely connects, but you can see that SHIN, he is broken. He is being broken here. GuMiho has too much. Takes down the Queens, takes down the Hydras. GG gets called. And the all-in works. GuMiho barely takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, GuMiho was going for an 8-rax. He was going for an 8-rax that was originally a 3-base all-in, turned into a 2-base all-in. And we saw just how large the army size was for GuMiho. And SHIN just barely couldn't keep up. Just barely couldn't catch those reinforcements. Couldn't bleed out the army. Did cripple the economy, but GuMiho didn't care about the economy. Not at all. Could have lost all of his SCVs at that point, and it didn't even matter. And with that, GuMiho is 1 game away from making it onto the grand finals. Uno más, papi, uno más. Let's go. Why would they include TOS players? What do you mean? TOS usually wins the weeklies. What are you talking about? Speaking of TOS winning the weeklies, Hero, he did just take down Dark 2-1. We just got an update. Again, Hero is usually favored over Dark, so that one of the more expected results, but I was hoping that Dark could make a series out of it. It did go to the Ace match, so a big shout out that they went all the way to game number 3. But Hero did come out on top, and the upper semifinals has been confirmed. It's going to be Hero versus Solar. Let's go. For now, though, we're focusing our attention on our semifinals. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our South Korean Terran player, our Red Terran, representing Team Cloud9, leading the series 1-0, 1 game away from advancing onto the grand finals. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player going for a 15-15, a very safe opener. We have representing himself down in the series, looking to fight back, SHIN. SHIN, he brought down Kyori, brought down Oliveira. SHIN has been on fire here in the Zerg versus Terran matchup, but he's up against GuMiho, a very different kind of Terran player. And just was able to pull off an all-in against SHIN. All-ins aren't too common anymore against Zerg players, but there are certain maps that are favored for that sort of playstyle. Oceanborn, Golden Aura as well. 8-raxing on these maps. Hard lead can be brutal just because of the short rush distance by ground. just because of how quickly your reinforcements can get across the map. As SHIN is going to be opening up, again, very safely. I did mention before it was a 15 hatch opener into a 15 spawning pool. This will lead into faster lings and queens. It does lead into delayed gases. So a little bit less economic, but safer overall as a playstyle. So go. We have our first 2 queens on the way. We're going to be skipping out on lings, just droning it up and defending with purely queen, ideally for the time being. And GuMiho is going for a standard Rax expand. For the first time all day today, GuMiho doesn't go for a 2-Rax Reaper. Doesn't go 2-Rax Reaper. Lifts up his Rax, going for the kill on the Overlord. Going for a kill, and it looks like he will get it as well. It's going to be a brutal supply block here.
Here comes a new challenger.
God damn it. Every time. Is going to be supply blocking SHIN for a moment there, but he's got 2 more Overlords on the way already. Should be okay. Should be free to break free from that. SHIN should be working towards his 3rd. SHIN's 3rd base is a little bit late, is what I will say. Very surprised here. Despite the fact that there was no... I mean, I guess it was late in favor of the Overlords, just to make sure we didn't get supply blocked. Now we have the 3rd base in production. Let's go. Is on the way. As we are going for another aggressive build. Took me a moment to let it sink in here, but I don't know what do you see? What do I see? What do we see here? No 3rd CC. There's no 3rd base. No 3rd base whatsoever. It's a straight up 1-1-1. You don't see this opener too often from the side of GuMiho, and we see why. Oh boy. Mech is on the horizon. It's going to be a battle cruiser opener. Very committed here. Very aggressive by GuMiho. And this could be 2-port BC. This is going to be an add-on swap. Where is it? There is a 3rd CC on the way. So it's not going to be a 2nd starport. It's not going to be 2-port BC. But BCs nonetheless from GuMiho. Traditionally, typically, if you open up with a battle cruiser, it leads into mech as the follow-up. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here for GuMiho. GuMiho is one to whip out the mech from time to time. We're just waiting for that fusion core to finish up. It is done. Waiting for those resources. There it is. The first battle cruiser is on the way. In production. 2nd Rax. It is not going to be mech. It is going to be a bio follow-up from GuMiho, thankfully. Not going to be mech, so it's going to be BC into bio, which is very unorthodox. Much more unique. Going to be difficult to read here for SHIN as we have a 3rd Rax on the way. Factory only being used here for add-on swaps to make those add-ons. SHIN back at home is happily droning, going for a faster Bailey Nest, so a very safe opener here by SHIN. Once again, this time
Our forces are under attack.
a safe opener is warranted, but not quite the safe opener he was looking for. As there are no Hellions on the ground, no aggressive force on the ground at all, it is BC into Yamato. Very committed battlecruiser opener. Let's go. It's going to be into Yamato. 2nd BC on the way. We teleport across the map. Oh boy, into the main base. And how much damage can we get done? How many queens do we have? 10 queens. Overlord is going to be going down. We do have some time to rotate over with our queens. SHIN, he has time to react here. This BC shouldn't get much done, but he's supply blocked. It is going to be supply blocked. He's got plenty of anti-air. BC wanders into the main. Queens are in position. Drones are being targeted. We're going to get 2 drones so far. Oh, did I say 2? I meant to say 5. We get 5 workers in the main, but we will hold on. Behind this, going for a Spire, working towards Mutas or Corruptors. Mutas can deal with low amounts of BCs, and I would not be opposed to them considering it is bio, not mech. But we'll see. As Lings, they go for a big counterattack. The third base, sorry, that middle line looking a bit exposed. We're going to surround. And these are vanilla Marines. The Marines are going to be going down. Big pickoff here by SHIN. Surrounds the Marines, denies the third base. It will knock it up and running. And the BC does teleport across the map, right? Yeah, does teleport across the map once again. We ignore the Lings. We're contained to 2 bases. Queens are in position. These BCs, they need to get more damage done. They need to gain more value. Yamato goes off. We get a queen. We're due to the queen. As GuMiho is stuck on 2 bases, waiting for stim, waiting for +1. Yamato gets a second queen. We do get a second queen, but it looks like SHIN, can he get a kill on this VC, on the battle cruiser? It's so close. But the VC will escape. As we go back into the natural as well. Oof. Yeah, back into the natural base. GuMiho back towards the third. Just dragging SHIN left and right, pulling him apart. Over and over again. We got 6 worker kills. And these BCs, they can always teleport back home. They do have them available. They can teleport back home, they can repair. This time the Marines, they have stim. Lings, they cannot engage. The Bio Army looking a little bit too strong here. Yeah, it's the battlecruisers, they teleport back home. We do have some Corruptors to gain map control and to shut down the BCs. Not Mutas. Gonna be Corruptor. We also confirmed that it was a bio follow-up, not mech. Workers will be saturating the third base. SHIN still getting his own 4th and soon to be 5th up and running. And the game is going to settle from here. We have to take stock at where exactly we are. Okay, so GuMiho is working on 2-2. Does have a slight upgrade lead over the Zerg opponent. Corruptors, they're looking for more value. They go for the tech lab. They deny an upgrade. They deny concussive shell. Not bad. Not a bad pick off here. Meanwhile, GuMiho, he's ignoring those Corruptors, goes for a push across the map. Now, thankfully, SHIN expanded towards the north, not towards the south, so his base is safe. Lings, they collapse on these Marines. Where are the Bailings? Oh. Not the best fight from SHIN. Bailings now coming in. They pick up a couple of Marines. That was a bit of a shaky fight there from SHIN, but does force back the army. Corruptors almost get a full medevac. As +1 finishes up after the fight. Yamato comes back in. Yamato, another queen. Yamato, another queen. Teleport back home. Do teleport back home. That's the Corruptors are still looking for that battle cruiser. They don't find it. They don't come across it. 4th base is now being taken by GuMiho. And SHIN still just building up back at home. He has been able to successfully join up to 87. And again, the BCs didn't deal critical damage. That's what's important right now. He was able to have a really nice handling of those battle cruisers. He has his 5th base up and running. Working on a 6th. He's maxing out, working on the Hive Tech, working on Vipers, Adrenal, eventually 3-3. SHIN is looking quite solid. And unlike the previous game, GuMiho isn't in his face. GuMiho, outside of the BC harass, hasn't been aggressive. He's been stuck at home. Outside of the BCs, he's just been stuck at home, stuck defending. And SHIN is looking much more comfortable. And with how comfortable we are, there it is. We have the Ultra Cavern. I was curious because I didn't see any Hydrogen or any Muta production. I was curious what the Corruptors would be used for or how we would incorporate them. And they're just there to support, and we are going into Lingbane Ultra instead. BC coming in. Corruptors, they do respond to the Battlecruiser as well. Does have the teleport available at the same time. The Bling Bane does crash into the planetary. That is going to be a kill. We get 8 SCVs and the planetary. GuMiho punishing this though, getting a lot of Banelings. Oh my god, he sims on forward. Good stutter stepping out of GuMiho, shaving off so many Banelings. Behind this, going for a drop on the 6th base, the hatchery. It is going to go down to only a single Marine drop, or a single drop of Marines. A kill on the hatchery. Ay, ay, ay. Raptors, they do float on forward. They do focus on the medevac at least. But this was well worth it for GuMiho. And here comes his massive Marine army. Very fragile, that is true, but there's no creep. There's no creep out here on the map. He can kite for days. We can see SHIN trying to come in from behind, trying to set up a surround. But he cannot. Instead, he goes for a Ling counterattack. Does get 8 SCVs. And can he get the base? Oh, he will. That's a kill on the CC. And a kill on the battle cruiser. No, ooh. Likewise, though, SHIN also going to be losing a base. Going for non-stop run-bys. He is committed. He knows he cannot engage with the main army, so he just avoids the fight. Goes across the map, gets into the 3rd base, gets into the natural. Every SCV is going down. GuMiho is all in. We've been here before. GuMiho is up in army supply. He is completely all in, as he's losing every single SCV across the map. It's all or nothing for GuMiho. There's no turning back. As they've killed 56 workers. And what are we working on? Ultras are on the way. Banelings as well. We do have a good amount of Banelings. And we're pushing onto creep. Oh, as we catch an Ultra. But GuMiho is pushing onto creep deeper and deeper. SHIN, he will have a better fight as a result. Decent Baneling connections already. And here we go. SHIN collapsing on the army from multiple angles. Connecting with the Banelings. Getting on top of the tanks. And SHIN, he will clean up this army. Yeah, we're down to 1 lost tank. 0 tanks left. Forcing the hot pickup into the main. Lings are lying in wait. Oh my god, and massive connections as GuMiho was not looking. Focusing elsewhere. GG gets called, and SHIN ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played again. A pretty dynamic back and forth there. But what I will say is that essentially the BC opener wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for GuMiho. He was able to Yamato a couple of queens. He was able to focus down a couple of drones. I think he got like 5 drones in total, maybe an overlord. But again, this is not the critical damage that we were looking for with the BC opener, and it kind of fell on its face. On top of that, if you remember, GuMiho was trying to take a 3rd base while he was harassing. He was trying to take a 3rd base. He failed to take the 3rd base as a Ling run-by was able to kill, I think it was 8 or 9 SCVs. He got a SHIN got a surround on the reinforcing Marines before Stim finished, so he killed a chunk of Marines, and GuMiho kind of lost map control. As soon as that happened, he lost map control. He was stuck at home. SHIN was free to max out and take into Hive. That's what we spoke about, how he had so much freedom to do whatever he wanted. He took advantage of GuMiho, and GuMiho became all in. Especially with not having anything at home to defend. He just lost all of his SCVs. It was all or nothing for GuMiho, but he just barely ran out of steam as he was on a timer. And that means we have an ace match. We have a game 3. Let's go. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our red Terran player representing Cloud9 being forced into the ace match. Can he bounce back? Can he take the series and advance on to the grand finals? It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. looking to show us all that once again his ZvT is like no other. It is SHIN. Here we go. SHIN going for a regular hatch first here. It's going to be a hatch first out of SHIN. GuMiho going for a CC first as well. If you remember, I brought this up when we were casting SHIN versus Cure. Specifically, Cure went for a Rax expand, and that stood out to me just because CC firsts are very common on Alcyone. Very common. Reason for this, it's a big map. Long rushes is by ground, and this map is known for its late game plays. So CC first has become more the norm. Cure going for a Rax expand did show us that Cure was a little bit afraid of SHIN because of how aggressive SHIN was being in that series. Here, GuMiho shows he has no fear. He has no fear. He's willing to take advantage of the map or allow the map to give him an advantage here on Alcyone. Meanwhile, likewise, SHIN, this time no 15-15. Just a standard opener himself. Well, standard opener out of SHIN, greedy opener out of GuMiho. And we should settle in towards the early game. Eventually, the mid game. Now, because of the CC first, it means that the Rax is delayed. We may opt to just go for a Marine first. A Reaper still has some value, but we can't apply as much pressure as we would like. And SHIN should be able to expand and take his third base on location on time. Yeah, it is Marine first. Marine first, no Reaper. SCV denies the triangular third, but SHIN can expand elsewhere, taking the linear third base, if he so chose to. But now it looks like he's waiting with his Lings. Oh, he's anticipating a Reaper, but there is none. And SHIN will be able to expand where he does like to. It was a little bit of a delayed expansion, but we expand nonetheless. Behind this, it is going to be a CC first into a Rax into Factory into a third CC before Starport, so economic follow-up as well. We have seen players like Bjorn go CC first into like a 3 Rax or 4 Rax. Like, we've seen that plenty of times. GuMiho is not going for like a hidden all-in. He's just going for a third base. Just embracing the later stages of Alcyone. And we'll see if SHIN does the same. Again, SHIN, he is not afraid to throw down an early Roach Warren and an early Bailey Nest. So we have to keep an eye out for anything of the sort, as he has pulled out of gas. So, no early tech. No early tech by SHIN. No early tech. As the GuMiho going for his Atom Swap 3 CC into Banshees, into Cloak Banshees, I imagine. SHIN trying to get a read on what's going on. The Overlord did dip in, but the Marines, they will zone that Overlord away. SHIN is going to be in the dark. He actually hasn't seen much of anything. I mean, he saw the lack of Reaper. He should have guessed it was CC first. He sees the Hellion, so he knows it's a 1-1-1 variation. So SHIN, he's got a couple of pieces of information here and there. Ling tries to go for the scout, is denied by the Hellion. SHIN.
Spawn more overlords.
Was that like layered diva announcements? What just happened? Oh my god. But yeah, SHIN, he is gonna try once again for the Ling scout. The Hellions are gonna be denying the Ling for a second time. Oh god, and I thought we were going to see this on Golden Aura. I thought we were going to see this in the BC game. BC into mech would have made more sense. This is a straight up CC first into third CC into mech for GuMiho in game number 3. Again, GuMiho is one of those players, I mean, I say one of the players out there that is willing to embrace mech. This is becoming more popular. We've seen Maru play mech, Clem, he's always mixed in mech. Bjorn recently played mech as well. In those qualifiers, in the qualifiers and in our recent matches that we have been casting. And of course, GuMiho was more of a trendsetter, less so a follower of the meta. And now he's here with double armory with triple factory cyclone production. Let's go. We're making 5 cyclones at a time. We have hurricane thrusters on the way. GuMiho embracing the new battle mech. Again, a lot of players have been willing to mix this into their series. GuMiho more than willing as well. Banshee does dip in on the right hand side. Doesn't quite get any damage done. Does get eyes on the 4th. Now, what is the most scariest right now is that SHIN, again, doesn't know what's happening. SHIN is in the dark. SHIN, I believe, has a lair. Yeah, lair is done. We need an Overseer scout. We need an Overseer sooner rather than later to try to get a read on what's happening. My Jesus. As Hellions, they do poke in. They pick up a couple of tumors. Raven going to be backing up. Now, with how many Hellions there are, that is a bit of a tell. And yeah, there we go. Roach Warren on the way, Infestation Bit as well. SHIN getting ready to get into Roach Ravager, which is what he needs against Mech. Cyclones are amassing back at home. Three more factories on the way. Blue Flame. Let's go. As GuMiho pushes forward. Cleans up a lot of these tumors. Does thread in that goal base. And he should be able to force a cancel. Hellbats are morphed in. But here come the Bailings. Bailings, they waddle on in. Would you force a cancel on the hatchery? SHIN not able to engage. Bailings just shut down. GuMiho backs off. He's got the damage he was looking for. He's content. He will retreat. Didn't invest too heavily into those Banshees. Only got a handful of them. As GuMiho is going to back off. Behind this, I mean, now SHIN is fully aware of the mech and he is going into Swarm Host. Okay. I am intrigued. So Swarm Host used to be the meta against tank mech, right? Against a slower tank Hellion composition, a more traditional form of mech. Against battle mech, Swarm Hosts are not really seen too often. The reason for this is because Swarm Hosts are very immobile and very vulnerable. And if a Locust Wave doesn't go well, then GuMiho with a battle mech with his Cyclones and Hellions, he can chase the Swarm Host down, shut down the Nidus Worms, and even catch SHIN off guard. Or catch his Swarm Host out of position. So it is very risky to go for this. We'll see if it pays off. The army comes in, we're denying the 5th base once again. At the same time, Nidus on the right hand side, threatening the main base. Oh, do we force a cancel? That's a kill! That's a kill, not a cancel on the hatchery. 300 minerals down the drain. At the same time, Lings, they do get across the map. They do deny that CC. It is on fire. And can we get a kill? Nidus finishes. Locust Wave here towards the 3rd. The 4th base still on fire. We're going for the CC. We force a lift. We force a lift. SCVs are going down. No repair. 17 HP. There's no repair on the CC. Another Nidus towards the left-hand side. It does burn down. Oh my god. SHIN may have lost one hatchery, but GuMiho loses the base. He loses the command center. 400 minerals down the drain. Nidus Worm gets shut down. Another Nidus does finish up. Now SHIN, I believe he doesn't know. No, he knows. I was going to say he doesn't know it's been killed. He is aware. Another Nidus into main base. Cyclones, they do shut it down. As the Locust Wave is going to come across the army. We're going for the tank. Can we get it? Barely not. Tank will escape. SHIN moving forward with his Ling Bane Roach Ravager here. He does have momentum. He is maxed out. And GuMiho has been struggling. His army is all over the place. Trying to keep up here with the Nidus Worms. Low supply tied up here towards the left-hand side. And we push right through the center. We get a tank. Not too sure if we have much to deal with the main army. Ooh, Banelings are going down. No big connections. Yeah, SHIN does overextend. Locust Wave going to be going off, engaging with the Cyclones. But that was a good fight for GuMiho, and he's snowballing out of control. This is what I was worried about. Cyclones, they can clean up the Locust Waves. They can counterattack so quickly. And SHIN needs time to reset that Locust Wave. and reset those swarm hosts. Base is going to be going down. We deny the gold. Planetary is done. Another Nidus on the way. Is being cleaned up. Decent Baneling connections on the front lines here, but GuMiho is pushing forward. More Banelings on the way. They're rolling in. And they're barely not connecting. As GuMiho, he does hold. Pulling back, re-establishing his base, double expanding as well. GuMiho's economy looking strong. He's on 82 workers. He's on 5 bases, soon to be 6 and 7. The problem with, again, a problem with Swarm Host as we catch some of these Hellions is that it is very momentum based. And without momentum on your side, things can very quickly snowball out of control, out of your favor. And goes down for free. Heli run by towards the top right. Top left even. Do we have enough for the planetary? Do we have enough Locusts here to shut down the planetary? That's the question. The answer is no. We go for the base. We have a repair. And the Locust Wave gets cleaned up without too much issue. And the Knight is being thrown down. GuMiho engaging with the army. Does split the Nidus. Sending his reinforcements here towards the south. Going pure Hellion Cyclone. Locust Wave isn't ready. One Swarm Host goes down. Yeah, we try to collapse on this. We try to punish this, but it's not going to happen. A good dodge there on the Biles. Locust Wave comes in. We get 1, we get 2, we get 3. No, not even. We get 2 Cyclones for a Locust Wave. Not worth it. We catch out some of these Ravagers as well. Decent Baneling connections, but expensive losses for SHIN. As we bleed out the Ravagers, we go for the base, forcing a cancel. And SHIN, he is in a lot of trouble. He's trying to hold. Swarm Host, they're still not ready. They still do not have a Locust Wave. And Viper's coming in. Blinding Clouds on the Cyclones, but the Locons, they don't care about your Blinding Clouds. And it looks like GuMiho may have just done it. The Mass Cyclone is too much, and again, these Swarm Hosts, they're ideal against a slower form of mech, but not against this. We saw even in this game, GuMiho just collapse on those Swarm Hosts, deal with the Locust Waves, and snowball out of control with these Cyclones. Like, he's just gotten so much value, so much momentum. We can see SHIN trying to get into Hydras, but they melt against the Cyclones. Trying to get into Ling Hydra Viper. Meanwhile, GuMiho taking another base. Should be landing his gold soon. And yeah, GuMiho going to be backing off from the right-hand side, rotating over towards the left. Catching these Lings. And going for the bases. SHIN, does he respond? Does he react? Or does he counterattack? As we're getting into BC, Yamato about to finish. +1 ship weapons on the way. And this is the end game. This is the ideal mass BC for GuMiho. Meanwhile, SHIN going mass Hydra. Not bad. Stutter stepping forward. Locust Wave on the way. Going quiet as the way out here to the Mineral Lines. BCs, they reveal themselves. We have Cyclones on the left, BCs on the right. The Dew Blinding Cloud, the tanks. And the Cyclones are being forced back. But as these armies engage, we lose the Mineral Line. The BCs are getting out of control. They get 18 drone kills. SHIN cannot keep up. It is becoming too much. Big Yamatos here on the Queens. And Shin just doesn't have an economy, not anymore. He has the gold base, but he's down to 55 drones. And the Cyclones, they're not done. As Shin is going for a counterattack, he's going for an all-in. It's all or nothing for Shin. The Swarm hosts, they're being thrown away. Locust Wave zoning back the army. We lose 14, 15 drones across the map. Both bases full. Shin, he had a good run. He took down Kyori, took down Oliveira, but he cannot take down GuMiho. Boys are being pulled. This is the final army of Shin. Stutter stepping forward. Good target firing here on the Cyclones. They kill 32 SCVs. But what is our answer to the BC? What is the answer to the mass battle cruiser? Because that's a lot of battle cruisers. That's 8. Oh my god. 8 BCs, all with 1 Yamato each. GG gets called. It's just too much to handle, and GuMiho will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to GuMiho for taking the series in the end here in quite a fashion. Just making sure, you know, he does spice it up here in the semis, in the ace match, goes for a mech of all things. And again, traded so damn well against Shin. I do think that it was a little bit cavalier of Shin to go into Swarm Host. I'm not too fond of Swarm Host against Battle Mech, as we saw time and time again. Shin was having a really hard time gaining value and getting away with his Locust Waves because GuMiho was being so active with those Cyclones. He was catching out Swarm Host, catching out Locust Waves, and counterattacking so well. Shin was initially doing okay with his Lingbane Roach Ravager Harass alongside the Locust Waves, with like the first 2-3 Locust Waves, but after that, GuMiho stabilized. GG, well played. With that, we have our first finalists. GuMiho has made it to the grand finals, and who will he face in those finals? That is the question. That is the question here as we refresh the bracket and figure out what is going on. I mean, there's not much to figure out as the upper semifinals is currently underway.